Hey guys, we're here again, talking about a different team this time. Obviously, why would we talk about the same team twice? That'd be stupid. We're talking about New England Revolution, according to Doug Heffernan from King of Queens. So we're gonna try to go fast. I'm bad at going fast because I like to talk about these guys because a lot of them are awesome. We're gonna start in the back with Shuttleworth. Good goalie, solid goalie. Been with New England for a while now, and he's $5.5 million. New England tends to be one of those teams that either gets really hot or really cold, and I think that affects Shuttleworth's points a lot last year because they went on a really bad losing streak, but then all of a sudden they went on a really good winning streak. So Shuttleworth, I think there's better goalies you can get for 5.5, so I would probably stay away from him for now. Again, if they get hot, jump on him because he will probably get you a decent amount of points for a little while. Just going to move on up to the field. The two center backs are going to be Farrell and Gonsalves. Both been with the team for, I think this is Farrell's third year. Gonsalves, I think, might have come on the same time Farrell got drafted. So Farrell, his first year as a rookie, played on the outside. And last year they needed him to move inside, and he did a pretty good job. He really did. Solid dude, big, kind of beefy guy. Can fight off the biggest of guys, opponents. And then Gonsalves is also a big guy. I think a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3, he was Defender of the Year, had a really good season. And you know he has the capability of scoring goals. For whatever reason, their team didn't do fantastically last year as far as defense goes, but I would expect them to do better this year. Both of those guys are $8 million. I think both of those guys are very well priced. If I had to pick one of the two, I think I would go with Gonsalves just because he has a little more potential to score and he has a little bit more experience than Farrell does still. So Farrell's still really good, though. I think he's still a strong option. Out on the winger defender roles, we have Chris Tierney and Woodbury, and very different options there. Tierney, still $8 million like the other two center backs, but I think part of the reason is every once in a while he gets thrown into the mix for taking free kicks, and I know there was at least one. There might have been more that he actually scored on last year. Fantastic free kick taker. So, you know, I always tell you not to take the guys that play on the outside, and I still don't think I would take him, but you could definitely do worse. He's one of the top guys for playing out on the sides. Woodbury, on the other hand, London Woodbury is $5 million, guys. That is a starting defender at $5 million. The only other one I know of is Vincent from Chicago, who got drafted as a rookie. Now, comparing those two, you have Vincent on a team who has a new coach and almost an entirely new back line. Woodbury, you have on a team who has had the same back line for 2 years now, and on what I would personally say is a better team. So if you're going for a $5 million player to sit on your bench or just throw him in the mix every once in a while, go with Woodbury. I think he'll get up in the attack. I don't know enough about Vincent to say how well he'll do in the MLS. I hope he does great, but Woodbury, I think, is a much safer bet for a guy at that price. So, having said that, we're moving on up. We've got a lot of great midfielders that we've been able to watch in New England for a few years now. They have an exciting young team. So defensively, obviously they lost Jones, which is unfortunate, but I actually read he just got picked up by Colorado a couple days ago. So that's a pretty big deal. But Gershon Kofi is an incredibly strong defensive midfielder. He's played with a bunch of different teams over the past few years. $7.5 million. Pretty average for that position, but I think, again, he's one of the stronger guys at that position. I think he'll have no problem filling in for Jones. And across from him, more than likely, is going to be Scott Caldwell, who I think he got picked up as a rookie at the same time as Sparrow, and both of them have played very, very well with New England. Caldwell, I think, is a little underrated just because he doesn't look like a big guy. Because normally, when you have a scrappy defensive midfielder, he tends to be a bigger guy that can kind of wreck people when he needs to. Caldwell can't really do that, but he distributes the ball very well. $7.5 million. So both of those guys are the same price. Probably wouldn't really recommend either of them, just because I'm trying to stack my midfield with guys that are attack minded. So moving on up, we've got the big man. No, he's not that big, but he plays big. Lee Nguyen. Or if you're new to the league, Lee Nguyen. He's $11 million, and he deserves to be. He's got the potential to do amazing things. If you got points, extra points for juking people out and making them fall over, he would get a handful of those points. Scored 166 last year. That's pretty good. But again, like I said earlier, they get hot, they get cold. So hopefully they have more of a consistent flow this year. And if they do, Lee Nguyen will be a top scoring midfielder. I can almost guarantee it. You can't guarantee anything in fantasy, but he is fantastic. We also have good old Kellen Rowe, babyface Kellen Rowe. He looks like he's still 12 years old. But he is one of those guys that hasn't always been a starter. But it seems like every time he gets on the field, he makes a difference. Now, hopefully he can keep his starting spot this year. And if he does, he will be another high-scoring midfielder. He's $9 million, which I think is a really good price. Maybe the reason his price is a little lower is because he doesn't consistently start, but he's a great fantasy option, I believe. New England has a lot of them. I think they're a strong team this year. A couple of other guys we just have to mention just because they're the other guys that will be thrown into the mix every once in a while is obviously Diego Fagundes, exciting player to watch. And then quickly we'll also mention Kobayashi, who gets in the mix a lot as well. So that is the New England midfield. Moving on up to the forwards. Question. Right now it looks to be that Agudelo is going to be the starter for the year, but they also have Charlie Davies. Both of them are $8.5 million. It kind of reminds me of the situation in Vancouver. They have Mane and Rivera, both the same price, but who's going to play? Who's going to start? I know Davies has been talking a lot about how he wants to break back into the national team, and I think that's very possible with the way he's playing, but Agudelo could too. So it's going to be hard to see. Maybe they can figure out a way to get both of them on the field at the same time. I mean, they play kind of the same target role, but I think they're both fantastic players. It's just frustrating that they're on the same team because if they were on different teams, they would more than likely be the starter. But I would avoid the situation for now, see who ends up starting in the first 2 or 3 games, and go with whoever that is because I think they'll be a strong fantasy option. So, top 3. We're going to first start out with Lee Nguyen. He's incredibly good. He's $11 million. He's pricey, but he's worth it. Secondly, I think I might actually go with Kellen Rowe. I've never actually had Rowe on my team because of the inconsistency with starting. But I think this year is going to be a really, really good year for him. Strong fantasy option. And lastly, I think I'm going to go with Gonçalves. Just because I know he has the potential to be one of the best defenders in the league, and the sun is coming over into my face again. I think I need to change angles. It's like by the time I get to the end of the video, I'm blind. I can't even see the screen anymore. That's okay. It's all good. I'm just rambling again. But yeah, Gonçalves, strong option. I think he's underrated a little bit this year, just because last year he didn't do as well. So that is the New England Revolution. Good luck in your fantasy season. It starts tomorrow. Get your team set. Get them ready. And we'll see you out there. Good luck. Goodbye.